This is Reality Over Theory News. I'm going to explain how ideology determines the outcome of policies, procedures, laws, customs, practices, uh, government, anything that has ever been established or that is promoted and perpetuated or that is altered is all based on ideology, which is ideas that take root in the minds of the masses in society, and then they demand changes in that direction of the belief system that has been established for them. For example, if if uh, if the politicians were to decide to make a law and ban guns, all guns right now, the problem is that there are many people that are for the right to bear arms, at least to some degree, maybe with some modifications on the Second Amendment, even though it's not legal, but they may be for it. So this whole society, the majority of society, is not necessarily for the right to bear arms totally, at least at this point. The powers that be in government and beyond are trying to propagate an ideology of that guns kill. The instrument is to blame and not the individual acting and causing the death by using the instrument to cause uh, serious bodily injury or fatalities. The point is that once they could get the masses to buy into the belief system that guns are dangerous and that there's no need for them, there'd be less resistance on behalf of the voters or masses, the constituency, and then the politicians would feel free or more free to ban guns totally. Now, most politicians in society, I'm not saying all, are not governed by morals. What they're governed by is power. They want to stay in power. So what their objective is, what does the public want? If it's certain things they could go contrary to the will of the public, especially if they're ill-informed. But certain things that are entrenched in the hearts and minds of the public, if they went against, there's a possibility of severe repercussions politically. So if the politicians decided to ban guns now, there'd be a great deal of backlash from the pro-guns advocates, those that are advocates for pro-guns. There'd be a great deal of backlash where many politicians would be voted out of office. So the politicians don't want to be voted out of office. And a lot of them don't really have any moral principle. Their principle is, okay, stay in power and enrich oneself as much as you could, and that's the way they operate. So if the powers that be in the media, which are the propaganda ministers, our media, mainstream media, is nothing but propaganda ministers. Every channel in mainstream media is controlled by the money interests. That is why there's a concerted effort to constantly bombard the masses with negative ideologies, negative beliefs about Trump. Now, Trump is not a saint, without a doubt. He's not running to be a choir boy or anything else. Neither is Hillary. But the point is that the coverage is unbalanced. If you're gonna dig up on Trump and find everything that he did, that's fine. Then you should do the same for Hillary. But the problem is that's not what their intention is. Their intention is to sway the election, to manipulate the outcome of the election. And the way they do it is that they keep emphasizing things and they exaggerate. They get witnesses to come forward, unsubstantiated allegations from the witnesses. They come forward many years later. They didn't come forward in the past. There's no criminal charges that they've ever attempted to lodge at the police, the local police department where they reside, where the crime allegedly happened, or anywhere else. There was no chargings. They never attempted to make a criminal charge against them or a criminal complaint. All of a sudden now they're coming out. They're coming out because they've been paid. The thing is, they've been paid probably large sums of money, and they're coming out to say this. And the allegations are totally off the wall. Now, the reason why, as long as they keep saying lies and they keep repeating them over and over and over, even the Trump supporters, unless they're more extreme, will start to doubt, okay, maybe we really shouldn't vote for Trump. And the reason why is because they're buying into the lies of the media. The media is there to create doubt. And the reason why is also, if they create doubt and they tell everybody, oh, look, the polls say this or that, they get polls that are unscientific. The margin of error is not displayed on the screen. The polls are totally rigged. And they get the poll and they say, okay, according to CNN polls or this poll, Trump is not going to win. His numbers are blah, blah, blah. And Hillary's ahead. And then all of a sudden they go and they use the poll as a means to justify everything after that. Oh, Trump is this, Trump is that, the women don't like Trump, this one doesn't like Trump. Oh, but according to polls. But after they make the statement, according to polls, they go on as never to go back to the supposed credible source. The polls stated. They don't go back as a whole poll stated, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they do. And then they keep going on and on. And the reason why they have to use the polls, they can't come out and say, we know he's going to lose, blah, 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 blah. Because if it does, it appears to be that, then, especially if he wins, it appears to be they're biased. So the media's got to appear to be unbiased. So what they do is they get biased polls, and then they claim they're scientific. And then what they do is run with them. So later on, if Trump wins, or if whatever happens after that, they can use their polls to justify their statements, their false statements. They knowingly and willingly are doing it to tamper with the election. So now, if many people believe that Trump is not going to win, when they tamper with the popular vote by allowing illegal aliens, unauthorized voters, those that are not registered to vote, unregistered voters, and then all of a sudden the popular vote isn't, even though it's illegitimate portions of the popular vote, are in favor of Hillary, and Hillary wins, then nobody's really going to question, oh, well, Hillary must have ran a good campaign and she won. No one's going to question the tampering of the votes, the voter fraud that's going on, because they're hiding behind polls, the media, and saying Trump is losing. Trump is not losing at this moment. Trump is ahead. But the polls would suggest otherwise, because they're using certain polls that are unscientific, that are used to propagate their ideology. Now, the whole belief system is this, is that our Constitution, our whole way of life is based on ideologies, ideas. Once they became enrooted in the minds of the Americans and the people in America, effectively what happened is that that becomes policy and procedure. Now, what they're trying to do right now is overthrow the election. Those inside government are foreign entities. The political parties on both sides in government are nothing but foreign powers that have infiltrated our government. We talked early in the 50s and in the 60s about the communists and everything else. And they said they're going to be in your government and your Boy Scouts and your churches. You know what? They're there right now. That's why when they said, why is Trump, everybody like him? Oh, because he's anti-government. No, when you're anti-corrupt government, the media paints you as anti-government because they can't acknowledge and give you legitimacy about the workings of the system and how the foreign powers have infiltrated our government, overthrown our government from within. Now, I'm not saying necessarily everybody in power is a foreign power in government, but they represent the foreign power's interest. They have loyalty to everybody else but America and but the Constitution. They sworn to an oath the Constitution, but they're violating it day in, day out. 98% of the politicians in the federal government are selling out. They're no different than communists. The only difference they do is they put a label on themselves as Republican or Democrat. Take an ideology of liberalism, an ideology used and propagated and the masses advocated after they take it on as their belief system. Take extreme liberalism. Extreme liberalism leads to communism, where everybody has equally nothing, except the billionaires. The billionaires will have it all, and they'll be the Communist Party, or whatever you want to call it. But the bottom line is, any ideology that is used as a vehicle to promote and perpetuate a way of life, or to change a way of life. Now, our government is using hate crimes, hate speech, and everything to regulate the behavior of the people that they disagree with. Because anybody that speaks against the foreign powers in our government, those that are loyal to foreign powers in our government, become the enemy of the state. Tea Party members are the enemy of the state. Christians are the enemy of the state, according to their Department of State memorandum. Pro-life people, enemy of the state. Constitutionalists are. Military that came home from Iraq and Iraq and Kuwait are enemies of the state. And the reason why is because anybody that's pro-constitution, pro-limited government, the powers that be don't want limited government. They want unlimited government because they want to use it to overthrow the will of the people. This is why there's an attack on individual rights. They want everything to be collectivism over individual rights so they can control the masses and then conquer them. And this is part of what they're doing in the election right now. They're using the propaganda ministers of the media to shape the mindset of the people so the people will go along in the direction that they want and cast a vote in the manner which they want. If they don't, they're going to do a backup plan to bust in massive numbers of people that have no authorization to vote and commit voter fraud. Okay, take care. Have a nice day.